What is going on, everybody? Welcome to Off the Top Rope, Off the Mic Sports Network. So, SummerSlam this weekend, have a full, in-depth preview, 2 parts of both nights coming up here on the channel. But the big story to me, and it really has kind of flown under the radar because it hasn't really been talked about on television, but for us in the wrestling community, the IWC, we've been talking about what in the fuck is going on with Seth Rollins. Radio silence. We've had subtle mentions. Paul Heyman and Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker are carrying around his briefcase for whatever reason. Paul Heyman basically saying Seth Rollins is going to be gone for a long time. All this blah, 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 blah. We haven't really addressed the elephant in the room, although I've talked about it on this channel. There is nothing in my mind that is deviated from the fact that I think there is going to be a cash-in at SummerSlam. I think it's going to happen in the World Heavyweight Championship match between Gunther and CM Punk. It makes a lot of sense. Seth's whole story is preventing CM Punk from winning that world title. He's literally said that. That's been his mission statement for the entire time since CM Punk got back in late 2023. That's literally been the mission statement. So to me, that's what makes the most sense. It's hard for me to believe that Gunther is going to walk out, and this has been announced as the main event for anybody who is trying to come up with theories that Roman Reigns is going to main event SummerSlam Saturday. The World Championship is main eventing. Okay, so there's that. So now you got both World Championships main eventing both nights. The question as a part of this video that I want to have an in-depth discussion with you guys, and you can share your interactions on social media. The handle's up in the corner at Off the Mic 28 and at OT Mike Sports, or you can get at me in the chat here. Love to interact with you guys. What do you guys think is the right decision for Seth to cash in on? Because there has been some debate, and it's a fascinating one to have here. What is the correct decision for a cash in here? Do you have Seth Rollins go into night 2 of SummerSlam against 2 people that John Cena, who he loves and respects, and Cody Rhodes, who he loves and respects, has a great history with. They hinted at that at Night of Champions. They hinted at that possibility. He got heavily involved obviously CM Punk was there, but one thing that Seth Rollins has done a really good job of is playing both sides of the fence of like, hey, it's not a guarantee that I'm going to go for one belt or the other. A lot of people were expecting him potentially to go in after, a potential Goldberg win at Saturday night's main event, which I thought was ridiculous. But then this injury happened. I've told you guys, like, the way that this has played out in 3 weeks, something is not right to me. So I think a cash-in's happening. To me, I think from a storyline perspective, I think it makes more sense for it to be on CM Punk. Because if he doesn't cash in that match and then he goes into the other match, you're basically setting yourself up to fail because then Gunther's got to beat CM Punk. And to me, I don't really see a lot of value in that right now. To me, Gunther, I think Gunther at this point, you don't really need him to be world champion at this point. You don't. The guy, yes, he lost to Jey Uso, but there really isn't anything out there for him on Raw for him to do. And it's clear to me that Seth Rollins is at least still on Raw. Because what are you going to do? Are you going to change the championships and do a draft? I just don't know how you're going to sort this out. So to me, what this looks like, I think they're gonna end night 1 with a bang. They're gonna end Saturday with a bang, and they're gonna have, Punk's mortal enemy screw him over again and win the world championship. That's the thing that I think is going to happen. Now, that being said, I am willing to hear what everybody is saying about, hey, the shock of, because there is a lot of unpredictability in both of these world title matches. Like, you could make a case that Gunther should win. I don't think he should. I think Punk should win the world title here. That's my opinion. But there's unpredictability. It's not as cut and dry as you think. And John Cena and Cody Rhodes is not as cut and dry. Everybody thinks that Cody's going to get his win back. Cody's going to film a movie. So does Seth Rollins screw over 2 of people that he respects in an advantageous situation in a street fight? It's a fair argument. I just think from a storyline and the way that they've been doing this and how much the interaction that has been going on, that I think Seth is going to stay on Raw. and screw over the guy he's been trying to continuously screw over for the last, what, 18 or so months since Punk came back in November of 2023. Like, it's almost been 2 years. That's literally been the whole story that's been told for the last 2 years, guys. Like, to me, that's what feels obvious in this situation. And like I said, the thing that you run into is if you don't have Seth cash in on night one, then you're going with the straight wrestling match. And okay, now this is main eventing. You've got to do something spectacular to go off the air. Because to me, going off the air with Gunther winning the world championship, as much as I like Gunther, would not be the way to end the first night of a 2-night SummerSlam and feeding into the next show. It'll make you wonder, hey, where the fuck is Seth Rollins? But you can't have Punk win if Rollins isn't catching in based on the story that you're telling. Because Rollins has basically said that his mission statement is to make sure that CM Punk never holds the world championship. He did it at Night of Champions. The story is there, and that's why it makes way too much sense for me to pass up on that opportunity. Now, I totally get why some people are sick and tired. Seth and Punk hasn't hit like it should have. For whatever reason, I don't understand why. But there is the other option, like I said, where they could go for the shock at the end of the entire 2-night event in a street fight with two guys beating the shit out of each other. John Cena, you could make the case that he keeps the title. You could also make the case that Cody Rhodes wins, but Cody Rhodes is going off to film a movie. So it's a really fascinating debate here to see how you could end both nights of SummerSlam, because I think one of them is going to have a cash-in. My prediction is night one. My prediction is Saturday, making it a triple threat, not allowing CM Punk to win the world title. That makes the most sense. But if you tell me other options that you guys want to run into me. Some people still think that Seth Rollins is hurt. I find it really hard to believe, considering all of the vague details and all the nature surrounding this injury that have been spewed out, specifically on television, the fact it's been radio silent really for 2 weeks about this whole thing. We've literally heard nothing. To me, it's hard for me to believe that they're going to end both nights of a 2-night SummerSlam without a cash-in happening. So I think it's happening. I think it's happening on Saturday, but I could totally see a scenario where it happens the other way. But there are some issues that they got to sort themselves through and get themselves out of it. But this is wrestling. So at the end of the day, the only people who are going to really complain about it are going to be the AEW schmucks because, hey, they hate CM Punk. They hate Triple H, all this other shit. It's like, guys, chill the fuck out. So anyway, this is going to be a fascinating night. We got both previews coming up on the channel here. One for Saturday, one for Sunday. Go like, share, and subscribe those. Like, share, and subscribe here on the channel. Hit that notification button so you can get content. We've been slowing down a little bit, but with SummerSlam, some big stories about to come out. AEW heading into the month of August has a big month with Forbidden Door. So there's a lot going on. And obviously sports, football's ramping up, training camp here. A lot of content starting to ramp up here on the channel. Thanks to everybody who's subscribed here. You guys are awesome. I love you. Appreciate you. I'll see you guys soon. Bye-bye.